What if I told you that the American Civil War did not end on the 29th of March 1865, but rather continued for another 2 months and officially ended for the Cherokee Nation on the 23rd of June 1865? This is the story of General Stand Waite, who became the last Confederate general to surrender during the Civil War period. A controversial figure who signed away his ancestral land in the Deep South to become a formidable general in the Confederacy. Born in 1806 in Rome, Georgia, to a Cherokee father and a mixed-race mother. His father, who had been baptized, would name him Isaac S. Waite, but as an adult, Isaac combined his Cherokee and Christian name to get Stand Waite. As a student at the Moravian Mission School, Waite learned English and later helped his older brother publish the Cherokee Phoenix, a tribal newspaper. By the time Waite reached young adulthood, his father David had become a wealthy planter who owned many slaves. However, by 1829, gold had been found in Georgia and the Cherokee Territory. The prospect brought thousands of European settlers into Cherokee lands, and settlers and the federal government placed great pressure on the Cherokee to relocate on reservations further west, a process that was intensified after Congress passed the Indian Removal Act in 1830 under Andrew Jackson. Facing intangible choices, the Cherokee splintered into two fractions. The majority, led by Chief John Ross, wanted to stay on the lands and fight for tribal sovereignty. Waite, on the other hand, was among the minority who supported removal to the west, believing it was the only way to preserve the tribal's autonomy. In 1835, he and several others signed the Treaty of New Okota, ceding ancient Cherokee homelands in Georgia to the U.S. government in exchange for land on the Indian Territory in what is now Oklahoma. However, under Cherokee law, selling tribal lands without the people's approval was punished by death. So in 1839, members from the majority fraction executed Waite's co-signers of the New Okota Treaty, his brother, his uncle, and also his cousin. Waite, who barely managed to escape the same fate, became a prominent opposition figure in the Cherokee Nation's fractured politics and a bold enemy of Chief Ross. When civil war broke out in 1861, Waite wasted no time in joining the Confederacy. Viewing the federal government and not the South as the Cherokee principal enemy, he raised the 1st Indian Regiment of the Confederate Army, the Cherokee Mounted Rifles, and helped to secure control of Indian Territory for the rebels early on in the conflict. Eventually, many fellow Cherokees would join the Union Army. Waite became known as gifted field commander and a bold guerrilla leader. At the Battle of Peak Ridge in Arkansas in March 1862, his troops earned an acclaim for capturing a Union battery in the midst of a Confederate defeat. On June 15, 1864, his men secured a major victory by capturing the Union steamboat J.R. Williams. The following September, they seized some $1.5 million worth of supplies on a federal wagon supply train at Cabin Creek. However, Waite also attacked other Indians who supported the Union, burning homes, destroying fields, and creating thousands of starving refugees. Even after the Cherokee majority repudiated the alliance with the Confederacy in 1863, Waite stayed loyal to the Southern cause. Eventually, Waite would lay down his arms, surrendering his battalion of Creek, Seminole, Cherokee, and Osage Indians to the Union Lieutenant Colonel Matthew at Dorksville on June 23, 1865. After the war, Waite returned to the Indian Territory to rebuild his home, which federal soldiers had burned to the ground. He traveled to Washington, D.C. to represent the Southern Cherokee during the negotiation of the Cherokee Reconstruction Treaty of 1866, which stripped the tribe members of vast tracts of land in Indian Territory in exchange for the reinstatement in the Union. Waite then retreated from public life to his old Honey Creek plantations, where he died on September 9, 1871.